So, the practical systems. Political system, practical component of it. Practical. I'm not covering too much of the practical here. Things are more or less clear. As if the principles are clear, then the practicals are details. Just to understand, understanding the practical aspects is not very difficult. It's very logical and simple. They're just more like instructions, and you just follow them. But principles are important to understand. That's why I spent a bit more time. This is very clear. This is very simple. I'm using the democratic style here. I will not go into details of why I'm doing it. That is more or less what Prabhupada suggested. So, if you want details, you can go back to the project and see. In sum and substance, the king replaces, a committee, a body of governing people Prabhupada called them as executive directors for a temple basically. So, I'm calling them as such. EDs, they may be 3 or 4 or 5. I'm taking them 5 here. And advisory committee. These are advising Brahmins committee. They will also be a committee. So they will be advising the ED, and ED will be passing down as state laws for the citizens. So this can be applied to ISKCON and or otherwise other organization or the world itself. In fact, by Varnashram system or the principles of what the Lord has given, what to speak of this small ISKCON, the entire world can be organized. It's not a very big thing, at least on paper. I'm saying ISKCON is small because it is expected. Manushyanam Sahasreshu. We cannot be controlling everyone we cannot expect that everyone will want to go back to Godhead and follow. So that's why I'm saying, don't take me wrong. So basically things are clear here. It is as simple as this. Not in details, but more or less this. Now, there is one very important point here regarding Brahmins. Now, you see, I will discuss this only in terms of little political angle. Human nature and political angle. So, see, why there is sometimes problem in a governance, any big or small. Even if there is one person in charge and 2 people following, sometimes there is a problem. The in charge becomes problematic sometimes. Why he loses integrity? Why he does not want to follow the Lord's order, or why he doesn't want to do good to people in general? Sometimes why does that happen? Especially in Kali Yuga or even other yugas, we see Duryodhana is there and other people were there. The reason why an in charge or the executive people or anybody for the matter, but specifically those who are leading, a leader becomes corrupt is because he is attached to sense gratification. His integrity fails because of certain sense gratification that is attached to. That is the main cause. So, that's why somebody has to be in charge. It doesn't matter. Now we'll say, because there has to be somebody accountable for these people. That's why Brahmins are there. But then you are just shifting names. What is the big difference? Instead of these people, now these people are in charge. So what is the difference? They are also people. They also can fall down. Yes, but there's a difference. All are people, and after all, at the end there has to be a person in charge. And everything boils down to his integrity. Everything boils down to the integrity of the person in charge. It doesn't matter what the name is. The name may be government, the name may be president, the name may be king, or it may be a Brahman. After all, it boils down to the integrity of the person. It is never otherwise. So, who is the person who should be in charge? What should be his quality? A person loses his integrity because he is attached to sense gratification, and that's why a person who is free from sense gratification, he is the best person to lead, because he will not take politically right decisions. What is politically right decisions? It is a fancy name for injustice done because of attachment to sense gratification. He wants something for himself, but he cannot do it in a justified manner. So he has to do injustice on somebody. So he says, oh, this is politically right. This is nonsense. Basically, it is a wrong decision. He is too much inclined to a certain kind of sense gratification. So he does injustice, and that he calls it politically right. So there is always a hush in the management profiles everywhere. If somebody wants to speak, and then there is, so all these things keep following, and then there is a lot of noise everywhere. So then there is troubleshooting management. What is troubleshooting management? See, whoever creates trouble, shoot that fellow. Don't make noise. So these things come, why? Because the person in charge, his integrity becomes questionable, and that happens because of sense gratification, attachment to sense gratification. That's why amongst these two, actually he is also a saint. He is also not attached to sense gratification, but because he is involved into such matters, like a king, he is involved into big palaces and everything, all that is there. So there is and he holds a lot of power. So that might become corrupt. But a Brahman is not like that. Although he is powerful, he is not supposed to be luxurious. He is not expected to, live a very luxurious life and have too much of sense gratification and everything. He lives a very simple life, and he does not take any benefit, material benefit from anyone. I mean, from the government, from the king. Does not take. Otherwise, he becomes a dog. Then there is no meaning to all this. That's why he should not accept any salary. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. So, even in general daily life, you can trust a person only who is free from sense gratification. Otherwise, trusting somebody is a very difficult task. That's why Prabhupada is the most trustworthy person, and we follow him. So, these executive directors, they are also actual pure devotees. They are supposed to be. They are also as good as Brahmins. But because they are involved into political matters and wield a lot of power, that's why there is greater chance. So, there has to be somebody who is living a saintly life already. He is not living exactly a saintly life externally. But he is, even externally, he is a very austere person. He has to live. So, it's not that just because he is in charge, so, he becomes the luxury. No. Now, Chanakya Pandit, he used to live in a small thatched cottage outside the kingdom. So, it is not that, but he actually was wielding more power than Chandragupta Maurya also. He had more power, but he lived in poverty. But Chandragupta Maurya, as the king, he did not live in poverty. That is not expected. So, not that he should be luxurious, too much luxurious also. That's not the point. But the point is, he should be free from sense gratification. And that person should hold the power. That is the point. Otherwise, he loses integrity. So, sum and substance is, this is the formula. The advisory board of Brahman gives instructions to the executive directors. You can call it as advice, but actually they are more or less more like instructions. And God's order are established as Bhagavad Gita for general citizens. And the important point here is, the Brahmins are very important, and they are actually given the charge of the entire governance. But although they don't execute or give as instruction, they give as advice. So you do it. If you do this, that will be correct. So that is best for Brahman. He is not supposed to. But then he also should not take it as just an advice. That's not the point. So, in other words, the Brahmins actually are controlling the state, not directly but indirectly, giving advice. So why Brahmins are chosen? Not only because he has got, of course, spiritually, if you understand that he has got jnana vijnana, he knows knowledge also, and he knows the practical application of that knowledge also. And politically speaking, from political anger, if you see, he is free from sense gratification. His integrity, there are very less chances that the integrity of a Brahman will break, because he is more free from sense gratification. And he should not also take any material benefit. So sometimes it may happen that he initially he may be pure, but then he keeps on taking some gifts. May not be salary, but then some gift somebody gave me. What can be done? That is no, that's not the point. So then it becomes problematic. He cannot be the heading then. So that is the sum and substance of the thing. These are only some salient points. There are loads of other details in this. I am not covering them, but these are only the important points. That's why in the project I have covered this lifeline and Brahmans separately as important topics, given separate importance to them, and that is because of these two things. Brahman is very important and the laws are important because they are lifeline. Both are very, very, very important. So these are the important points regarding the political system practicals. So next we will be seeing the social system principles.